Hello and welcome to the Home Edify podcast. Man, I'm so excited that you're here listening today. Edify means to teach or instruct so as to improve the mind and character. Here we talk about what it takes to raise courageous, resilient, lifelong learners. Home Edify is a spin off of homeschooling, and somehow it has blossomed into much more than that as we talk about what it takes to really edify the home, whether you homeschool or not. Today on the podcast, as a part of season 2, I am interviewing Jillian from Sprouting Arrows. Now, Jillian is incredible, let me tell you. I've followed her for a long time on Instagram, and she encourages moms that you can absolutely stay at home on one income and live a life that is thriving and rejoicing as a part of your testimony of following Jesus. And today on the podcast, we got to talk about what it looks like for her to homeschool her kids, to stay home with 4 kiddos, and really choose a life that is so countercultural to what we see today. She is adamantly opposed to debt, and she is all for cultivating contentment in your home and really living out the life that Jesus has for you as far as being financially free. I learned so much, and I am so excited to share it with you. So let's get to it. Jillian, it is so
Hey.
good to have you here. So, Jillian, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? What led you to start Sprouting Arrows as an Instagram account, and what led you to really encourage women to live a frugal life?
Yeah. Well, so I, um, met my husband and, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I made that very clear to him. But at the time, we're still on 2 incomes and I made more money than he did. And I was an occupational therapist um, but he was, very willing to go down to 1 income. But we were kind of like, we had no idea what we were in for. And so when I quit my job to have our first baby, we were still living like we were on 2 incomes, even though we were now on 1 income and a much less income than what we were making before. So like we just quickly went into debt, and we still had the same habits as we did from before, eating out all the time, and our grocery shopping was like nothing had changed. And then just like quickly realizing, wow, we need to quickly change our habits and to be able to get rid of this debt and to be able to like move forward with our life. And so that's not even how Sprouting Arrows started, honestly. I had just started an Instagram page to be encouraging to moms. And then like that happened as I was doing the page, and it just kind of morphed into what it is now of like encouraging parents that you can stay home, on less, and it is possible. And, that by changing your lifestyle and habits, like that is basically the best way to thrive when you're living on less.
I
So,
gotcha. And
yeah.
so I understand you've started your first year of homeschooling. You finished
Yeah.
your first year of homeschooling. So
Yeah.
what led you to that?
Yes. I grew up, I went to like a Christian school, thought homeschoolers were like the weirdest thing on the planet. And that's just kind of like that's how I grew up. And then I married someone who was a homeschooler. And he was kind of like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's no way." And so when we like first got married, and when we were still going through all of that, like I was still planning on having us and our kids to like a Christian school, not to public school, but and then just realizing, wow, like that is actually really expensive. And so that was my first thought. Oh, maybe we should homeschool. What? Really? Should we do that? Should I become a homeschool mom? And then now that is one of the benefits of living on less, is like how it opens your mind to like bigger things. I would have never considered homeschool if we had more money. And now by living on less, it's like now we're homeschoolers, and now I'm like loving it. And I can't, I just like, I'm so pumped to like think about homeschooling, and it's like, I feel like it's like my dream.
For sure.
So,
And
yeah.
I feel like for so many moms, that financial barrier to like homeschooling, it's like, do I give up my job to homeschool my kids? And
Yeah.
this was something that you're already a stay-at-home mom at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so frugal living is actually what led you to being able to do this.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your encouragement for the mom who's like working a full-time job and they're like, there's no way we can go down to one income?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, our budget is pretty low. Like we live off less than $50,000, and people think that's crazy or that's impossible. And it doesn't really feel that crazy or impossible, but we have been able to manage our debt. We've been able to, I mean, we're living off of less. I mean, it doesn't feel like that just because we've
Mm.
simplified our life way down. And so for families who have yet to do that, like just to get a better handle on like your habits now as you work towards possibly quitting your job. I mean, because if you feel called to homeschool, if you feel called to be home, man, I would do whatever you can to be able to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even if it means moving, like if you feel like you're living in an area that is expensive, but you feel called to do this, I don't know. For me, I would move. I know that is not the answer for everybody, but that would be the answer for me.
Well, I feel like cost of living is such a barrier depending on where you live. And that, I
Yeah.
mean, no joke, like what you're saying about moving, we live in a very expensive place. And I could totally see where like you would want to move so that you could
Yeah.
actually achieve some of these
Yeah.
priorities, you
Yeah,
know?
go down to one car, sell that car, especially if you've got a loan attached to it. Like, just sell it, get rid of it, simplify everything down to like bare bones. Like Dave Ramsey always talks about like beans and rice or whatever. Really, like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
if you actually did that for a time, a season, to not only save money, but like, change your habits? And how much money would you end up having at the end of the year? That, especially with the expensive childcare and all that. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're called, you're called. And
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
Was it hard giving up your job as like an occupational therapist to pursue the stay-at-home mom thing? Did you always know that you wanted to be at home
Yeah.
with your kids?
Yeah. Well, I've always wanted to be like when people asked what my dream job was, it was like, oh, taking my kids to the library. That's always
Aw.
been really a fun thing for me. And so when I was going to college and stuff, it was actually hard for me to come up with a major. Like, I actually majored in family studies
Oh,
because
that's cool.
I didn't I mean, I just really love family so much, and like the family unit and tradition and routine and stuff like that. And I mean, that ended up leading into occupational therapy. But I mean, I love the occupational therapy. It's a great career, but I want to be with my kids during this time. Now that homeschooling is in my world, I want to do that more than anything else. So
That's awesome. So,
that's
okay,
where we are
I
now.
I read some of your posts,
Yeah.
and so it turns out you started out as like very liberal. Is that right?
Okay, well, I'm from California.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I mean, I'm not like crazy liberal or whatever, but I
Right.
mean, I was a Democrat in California, and I was like a member of the Green Peace, like in college and stuff like that. But I mean, I think in like my roots though, I was still like I still wanted to be home though, like I still wanted to be a
Right.
stay-at-home mom. So I mean, I think there's just like a lot of worldly influence going on and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Was that a
Yeah.
hard switch to go from I want to raise a family, I want to stay at home, I want to homemake? I'm just curious because I know for me, I started out like I'm never having kids, I'm never getting married.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work. There's no
Yeah.
way I'm gonna ever be a stay-at-home mom. I went to
Yeah.
public school. Homeschooling
Okay,
was
yeah.
not even on the
On your
horizon. So I'm
radar,
just
I know.
curious. Oh yeah.
I mean, I think COVID like really helped open my eyes to a lot of things about like of switching kind of like my mind frame and like my view of culture and of homeschooling and and being married to my husband now and like how he was homeschooled and like how like wow, he is such a creative out of the box thinker, and that's what drew me to him. It's because
Mm.
he was like he wasn't your typical guy that you would find like, and I think it was because he was homeschooled.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
so I mean, that's just like a random tidbit that you don't really even realize until later.
Oh man, that
Yeah.
is super cool. So was he homeschooled all the way through?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he was.
goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. So okay, so he helped change your mind on the homeschooling
Mhm.
thing as well as like exterior influences like with COVID and all of that.
Yeah.
But so you were an occupational therapist. How does that
Mhm.
influence your homeschooling day to day? Because I know I've seen on your blog you have like a lot of tips for like if a kindergartner is having trouble gripping a pencil, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
How much do you pour into your homeschooling day with what you know from occupational therapy?
I mean, it's so ingrained in my mind that I don't even necessarily realize that it's happening. But I feel like
Mm.
I mean, with occupational therapy, you have to be pretty skilled at grading things up to be more challenging or grading things down to make it easier to find like a just right challenge where it
Right.
feels challenging enough that it's engaging and not boring, but not too difficult that you give up. So that is like what OT is, and that how perfect that actually is for homeschooling. When you see like your own child, like I know so well when I see, oh, I can tell they're a little bit bored right now. We can make this harder. Or like, wow, this seems a little bit challenging for them. Let me come up with ways to make this a little bit easier. And I mean, even thinking about like, I'm planning to do like a family style because we have a lot of kids, how can I teach the same subject, and have a fourth grader up here and a second grader here and a kindergartner here? And how can I grade it up for a fourth grader and grade it way down for a kindergartner and stuff like that? Like those kind of challenges, like, are kind of thrilling for me. Like, I think that sounds fun. So,
That is awesome. See, that terrifies me in my mind. I'm like,
yeah.
oh my goodness, how am I going to juggle all of this?
Yeah.
Because I have 3 kids. And how many kids do you have?
We have 4. Yeah.
I have 4. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So the first year of doing kindergarten, right? Is that what you've done this last
Yep.
year?
Yep.
What's your first year? What's it been like?
I mean, it's been so fun. So we started off with My Father's World. And it was great. It was a great beginning, and the next youngest is 3, and she was like exactly like right in there with us, like super excited to do each and everything. So that like made me think like, wow, like it's fun to do it all together. And, I feel like I definitely didn't need as much support as My Father's World provides. Like there's a whole like, textbook and all this stuff. And I realized I just kind of want like the ideas, and then I can kind of do whatever whatever happens. Be a
Right.
little bit more child led. It's honestly really helped me continue to work on slowing my pace down a little bit and being more intentional, because it's like he's like super into feathers. Let's go get a feather and look at it and try and draw it, or like whatever happens through the day, like finding more teachable moments through the day rather than like, wait, but we didn't do our handwriting practice yet. So that's I think been really fun. Yeah.
That is one of my favorite parts because I stink at sitting at a desk all day. I'm not that person. And my kindergartner, this was our first year too.
Yeah.
She's not good at that either. But what you're saying, like with the day by day moments of just diving into curiosity has been so life giving. And I feel like she's learned more in those moments too.
I did totally. Yeah.
It just sticks better.
Like I feel like he's done better at like, picking up on like math or whatever, because sometimes I'll take him to the market with just him, and it's like special mommy and him time, and I'll have him pay attention to like, hey, raspberries are $2.89 and blackberries are $1.99. Which one is more, the one or the two? And and he'll kind of help me be like, oh yeah, maybe let's get raspberries, not black, whatever. And and so it's been fun kind of having him help me with all that kind of living learning.
Oh yeah, for sure. And especially like living on less, like that gives you a really good opportunity to form some of those habits within the home before they're off into the real world, even though that's a long ways off. Like you're shaping that mind, planting those seeds, for that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So you are big on frugal living. You said that y'all had to work your way out of debt to where it was a point of like managing your debt. What did that journey look like? Was that super hard to actually switch the habits?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much you spend money without even realize you're spending money. Like on the dumb stuff, like you like buying that cup of coffee, like just like small stuff that adds up. Because like that's what it was for us. It wasn't like these dumb big purchases. It was all these like itty bitty like Taco Bell runs, and not realizing, oh my gosh, we're eating out at fast food places like over $100 a month. Like, what? This is stupid.
Right.
And just because we were not paying attention. And how just the simple fact of like going over what we spent like the last like month or 2 months, like and being like, whoa, like we can totally change this. And coming up with like replacements, like, okay, so if, because like we're a fun family and we're out busy doing stuff. And so then we're off on like a nature walk or whatever, and it's now dinner time. So before we would be like, oh no, let's get Taco Bell on our way home, because we're running out of time. But now it's like, no, let's spend that extra literally 5 minutes to make a burrito. Let's just go home. And like it doesn't actually take that much time to just go home and, make something fast. And or, I mean, if I've thought ahead, like having a crock pot meal ready to go and now it's ready when we get home. And those type of lifestyles changes and switches have been honestly probably the most drastic way that we've been able to save money is just by not eating at fast food restaurants anymore and watching how much we're spending at the grocery store.
So food budget. It sounds like
that's been like that was huge. Yeah.
Holy smokes. Yeah, it has been for us because you mentioned Dave Ramsey. We are doing that now as well because we want to get to a point where we don't have any debt at all. But dude, okay, the hardest thing I found for me, how do you balance eating healthy while on a budget? Is that something that you struggle with? How do you do that?
We've actually started eating way more healthy through this process. Because before, like, I mean, it's just, I guess, totally normal stuff. Like, we had like a 1.5-year-old, almost 2-year-old. And like, we would get him goldfish, like the Goldfish brand and fruit gummies and like all of this stuff that like we thought we needed for our child just to like as a snack. And realizing, okay, well, those are actually really expensive, how fast we were going through them. And what if we just completely stopped buying those and just stopped? And so one day I was like, I'm just never going to buy it anymore. And so I just cold turkey stopped. And so, I mean, now it's just like apples and boiled eggs and cheese sticks or whatever. And like, even with our diet was way more processed food than before. And just because it was fast and, now trying to find like quick replacements that is still manageable for our family that we can do at home and like make, I'm getting into like more like, making yogurt at home and, or do a water kefir at home and
yogurt in my budget is awful. My goodness.
Oh my goodness. Same here. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I try to think of like what do we eat like the most that I could try and like make at home instead as like a way to like reduce our budget. Because I don't want to be spending $40 a month on yogurt. Or now I can make it at home for basically $0. And
can you really?
Well, yeah. I mean, because you're just
goodness.
Yeah, I mean, you're just using like milk, and so if you use 1 gallon of milk, then you get 1 gallon of yogurt, which is like a ton of yogurt, and I mean, so it's like $4 for like a gallon of.
I gotta look this up. My goodness.
Yeah, and it's really easy.
Wow. Okay, so you were looking for those things that you already spent on, but that you could either cut out or have a replaceable item that would
exactly. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Because I knew.
How long did this process? Go ahead.
I mean, we're still going through it. Like I'm trying to learn how to like can right now, and like I'm fortunate enough that I live in like a really big Mennonite area, and so all these people around me are like the traditions have been passed down to them, and they just know how to do it. And so I have lots of friends that are have grown up in that tradition or whatever, and they like already know how to do all this stuff, and I'm like. Wow, like that's amazing that you know how to can literally every single food that you can imagine. So I'm trying to absorb as much of that as I can and be a sponge.
Because the people who know those things have an unfair advantage, I feel like, in life.
They do. Yeah.
Because, oh my goodness, there's so many things that I didn't know. Like even just like roasting a whole chicken saves you so much more money.
Same. I know.
Buying breast and thighs. Like, oh my goodness,
Yeah, that was definitely part of my journey too. I never like I didn't grow up. We'd never actually meet at home. And so like I never grew up around my mom making a chicken. And so I never made a chicken.
Right.
Yeah. So that was definitely a learning curve. Yeah.
Holy smokes. It's okay. So how do you find things for your family? Let's say it's not because you said y'all make less than 40,000. Is that right? 50,000?
It's like around 40. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But how do you fill in the gaps in that kind of in that kind of budget. So let's say you need something in particular. What are you doing for that? I know you're big on like Facebook Marketplace and that sort of thing, but
Yes.
any encouragements for moms who are like, oh my goodness, I would love to be at home. I would love to homeschool my kids. How do I even get some of these? How do I be resourceful? What's some tips
Yeah.
that you've picked up along the way?
I mean, resourcefulness, yeah, is totally key. Like when your kids are little, you can get clothes for so cheap. Like, I mean, either it's Facebook Marketplace, like, I mean, honestly, like, I don't even go to thrift stores anymore because I feel like the thrift stores are too expensive for kids' clothes. Like, Facebook Marketplace is like the place to get kids' clothes. And I mean, we get tons of hand-me-downs. So, I mean, I really encourage people to network with people at church or family members. And I mean, if you feel comfortable like letting people know that you have a need, like just a quick, if you're part of like a mom's group, like, hey, I'm looking for 2T boy clothes if anybody has any that they're done with. Cause like most people totally do. I mean, even us on our budget, I'm giving clothes out left and right just because it's like we get bombarded with stuff and I don't want it in our house anymore. And I'm like, get it out, get it out. And
Oh,
I
for
mean, so I
sure.
think people are more than willing to give you things if you need it, you know? So
Oh,
I
for
think that
sure.
would be a really big resource for sure. Yeah, and yard
Talk,
sales. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and see what I'm hearing, like, I feel like I'm hearing is just like, one, like you've become a really good steward of your time to where you're just like, okay, I'm not gonna rush home or I'm not gonna just go through the drive through because I've waited till the
Yeah.
last minute, that sort of thing. I'm
Right.
going
Yeah.
to use the resources I have, plan ahead.
Mhm.
And like I keep hearing all these like Christian virtues that are just like stuck in my head, you know what I mean? But like even
Mhm.
down to like community, like allowing
Mhm.
people to
Mhm.
serve you and you
Yeah.
serve them.
Right.
It's like
Right.
I feel like in our culture we've lost a lot of those
Mhm.
key virtues of like, oh, okay, we're going to steward our time, we're going to steward our finances, we're going to pay
Mhm.
attention to the things that are happening within our lives, within our budgets, and then also just being able to be a part of a community that will pour in and pour out. I wish we had more of that. Any tips for the mom who's like, okay, I don't really live in a community where those things feel possible?
Yeah. I mean,
Any tips for them?
I would say find that community. Like, I mean, it's not too late. Like, you can find that community anywhere, even in like the smallest town, which I mean, sometimes is easier than like a really big town. But I mean, I guess I'm like a big fan of Facebook because I keep
Oh
recommending it. But
yeah.
Facebook is also a really great place. Like, if you aren't part of a church community yet, like finding a mom group on Facebook and, if they meet locally, like, man, like be a part of that. Or
Mm,
if it is just like an online thing, like to even be a part of that. And I mean, as much as you can, just try and find like your people because I think that
mhm.
is what is really helpful when you're staying home is being around like-minded families. Because then there's not
Right.
as much pressure to like go to the jump park or you're not going to go like go to lunch somewhere. Like the people
Mhm.
that live a similar life, like we're going to go to the creek and bring a picnic and it's totally free, or we're going to you know, go to the playground and everybody bring a snack and we'll all share. Like those are the
Mhm.
people that are going to really that understand like where your journey is, or
Right.
even where you're trying to go.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's really helpful to be around other people that are living a similar lifestyle, just
Yes.
for encouragement and guidance and all the things.
Oh yeah. Did you have any like naysayers in your life when you
Oh
started
yeah.
this journey?
Oh yeah. Oh for sure.
What did that look like? How did you handle that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's hard when it's family,
Okay.
but people who just are, don't think that you can do it specifically on like our income or whatever. But I mean, yeah, like especially now being on social media, there's so much of people who just think it's not at all possible, but it is possible. And I mean, our
Mhm.
family is living proof and like it's not there's so many families that are doing it on such a similar budget. It's not like we have like a secret sauce that we've created. Like
Right.
it's just a lifestyle that you learn and anybody
Mhm.
can learn it. And so that's my biggest, I feel like, message to share is that it is very possible. And,
Mhm.
you know,
I totally see it. I can see it in my own view, my viewfinders, you know what I mean? It's like when me and my husband decided like, okay, we're going to tackle debt. We're going to try to get as minimally like get out of debt as much as
Mhm.
possible. I felt like it was very pressing, like where things would just immediately just start breaking, or like the
Mhm.
house, or like and it didn't even just feel like it was just a community wide, like this is not possible type of thing. It was more like, even just from a spiritual place, there seemed to be a
Mhm.
bit of attacks in that way. Have you
Oh, for
faced
sure. Oh my
any of that?
gosh. Completely. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like as we've been staying home, like I mean, so we're also in like a home renovation, like a complete
Mm.
home renovation. And so we had completely torn apart our kitchen, and my husband gets back injury.
Oh
And
man.
so he ended up quitting his job. And like that moment right there was like, what do we do now? And we had the conversation like, okay, so I mean, we have like a little bit in savings. Should I go back to should I go to work? Which I mean, we could have, but my husband was like, I mean, because like we were so committed for me to stay home. Like he was like, Jillian, no, I think God has got us, and like we just need to let's just keep riding this through. I mean, so we did, and we just sold. We went through our house and just like sold so much stuff just to like
Mm.
make extra money,
Uh-huh.
and then my husband, was able to get another job, and then it was fine. But there was like 2 months where it was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And just like complete learning to be like completely dependent on God's provision. And like I don't know, it was actually kind of like a cool experience for both of us, just like learning to communicate through that better. And like we're almost, it like made it more like we're a team, like
Mm. Yeah.
we've got
It was a
this, and
team
we're
building exercise.
it was, yeah, like and my husband would be like, hey, I just sold like an Xbox for $150.
Always been on the same page as far as money goes? Have you always been like, okay, like that's not really something we want? But because I know not everybody feels that way. What did that look like, getting to this almost ideology that you have surrounding debt and
Yeah.
all of that?
I mean, he definitely, like, I mean, I think even towards the beginning we were kind of more on the same page. Like, I mean, we actually got rid of our debt pretty quick. I mean, we're debt free right now. I mean, besides our mortgage.
Oh, praise the
And
Lord. That's awesome.
yeah, right.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. I think he's a little bit more spendy than I am. I mean, just because of like, him being off at work, like he, wants to go get lunch or, whatever. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, I think we have to like kind of have just like, I don't know, little meetups every here and there just to make sure we're like, hey, just letting you know if we weren't paying attention. We spent such and such this week, and we need to just keep an eye on it. And then, I mean, that's really like, I don't know, the gist of, but I mean, he knows, and he is definitely trying, and,
Mhm.
um, excited to live as frugally as,
Right. I gotcha. Well, okay, that's super cool. How did you go? What formed this passion to share about this specifically on your Instagram? Because it sounds like you started out like, okay, Christian encouragement for moms, to now you're starting to share a little bit more of this like process that you have with
yeah.
money and finances. What did that look like?
Well, I think I shared some I don't even remember what reel it was, but I mean, it was, I don't know, it's a couple, maybe like 2 years ago, where I shared some reel of like people being surprised that we are on one income and on living not a very high budget. And people are like, what, this is crazy, like I've never heard this before. And I was like, what? Like I didn't even realize that people thought that it was as crazy. And then just so I did, like, so I started posting more about it. And then really realizing, wow, people really don't think this is possible. Like,
Mm.
what? And just realizing, like, wow, culture has like really told everybody that like you
Mhm.
have to have 200,000 plus to be able to afford to all these different lies that like I mean, you really don't need what they say that you need.
Mhm.
And it is possible to live significantly less and feel, and like be very comfortable and thrive. And people are like, you're living in poverty, your kids are gonna the stuff that they say is just like, wow, we are just like living in two totally different worlds right now. Like, I mean, that's
Mm.
not at all what's happening. And so I don't know, it's been definitely an eye-opener. Yeah.
Wow, that's super cool. Yeah, I mean, because the way that I found you was through Culture Apothecary, was that
Mm-hmm.
little stuff,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
then I started looking into what you actually post, and I was super encouraged, but it was also kind of cool too to just see how many similarities we have in life,
Mm-hmm.
just between homeschooling kids, that sort of thing. But I find it really cool how much living frugally has benefited you in your homeschool journey, in all of these things that you really desire to do. And that's just a really cool thing to watch from the other side of the internet.
Yeah. Well,
Because I
good.
feel like, oh yeah, absolutely.
That's my
And
goal.
social, oh yeah. Well, hey, you're doing it. You're doing it. Oh
Thanks.
my goodness. It's super cool. This episode is sponsored by the Home Edify app. The Home Edify app was created by my husband and I as we were trying to figure out how can we store our kids' educational journeys in a digital format so that we can keep it forever. If you're like me and have toddlers, you know that a book can be destroyed in less than 10 seconds if given the opportunity to them. So I wanted something that I could put tasks in on my phone, that it would be there forever, and I could keep track of all of my kids' educational journeys as they grew. Anytime we do something educational, I type it into the app. I can plan ahead if I want to. I can check it off, and then I can get a weekly or monthly progress report sent to my email, and it tells me everything that we've done throughout the week. I can attach photos to each individual task. This has given me so much peace of mind. It has allowed me to notate things in a quick way that if I waited till the end of the day or if I waited to the end of the week, I would not be able to put it in. And on the weeks that we get sick and our schedule gets jumped around, I can go in and I can digitally move it around. This is so easy to use. It's so easily accessible and it's always there and always available. This has been a joy for me to use. And as it continues to grow and be developed, we'll be adding new features. We saw a gap in the market. We saw that there was a need in the homeschool community to have digital records. And being the lifelong learners that we are and wanting to model that for our kids, we said, okay, we're going to try to create this ourselves. And so we did. And this is our little experiment in progress that we really, really want you to be a part of if it serves you. So go to homeedify.com and there you can download the app, or you can go to the Apple Store and you can download the app. So don't want to take too much of your time. Just wanted to give you that little tidbit. Let's get back to the episode. So what kind of resources do you have for parents and for families that want to be more budget minded? I know like you have some resources on your blog. What does that look like? And what's your goal for like helping families get to that point where they're like, okay, I am living a lifestyle that I want to live with the priorities in the right order? What does that look like?
Well, my blog is still like a baby blog. I'm building it up, and I want to have like all the resources on there for families of, for everything. And it's just taking time though with all my babies. But I do have an ebook that is like kind of like an introductory ebook of if you are not staying at home yet and are wanting to, like it's kind of like our story mixed with like a workbook type of a thing. It kind of goes through like, why do you want to stay home? How do you talk to your spouse about it? Kind of shifting your mindset on things, budgeting, stuff like that. And so, I mean, if people are still on the fence or wanting to try, I think that's a really great resource. And I'm building more resources out now for families who already have made that transition. And I mean, I'm still growing and working on all that. Yeah. And I mean, on Instagram, I always share stuff on Instagram and stories and stuff like that. So
that's super cool. When I heard you saying that, like, oh, it's just a baby blog, right? I thought of that quote from, I don't know if you know John Acuff at all, but he has this quote of, I've left myself a lot of interesting things to do tomorrow. Yeah. And like when you said that, I was like, oh, okay, she's got a lot of interesting things to do. Like as she continues.
So much in my brain. Like it's bursting. And it's just a matter of time to like, because I only work on this like 1 hour during nap time. And so it's like, trying to get out as much as I can in the time that I have.
Have you always been like a money person? Have you always been somebody that like that's a
I'm not a money person.
You're not.
I like no. I really like talking. I mean, I honestly am like, I'm a habits person and I like shifting habits and shifting lifestyle. I'm not good with math, super bad with numbers, but I realize that's an important aspect of this. Like knowing how much you're spending. That's basically like what you need to do. But yeah, I mean, really, it is really more about changing your habits, because then it becomes actually easier and it doesn't feel hard. And then you can start like having it be part of your life, rather than, I'm $5 over on my budget, and so that's just how, that's how my brain sees it a little bit. But
I like that though. I like that because it shifts from like almost an identity of I'm someone who spends money to feel a certain way, to accomplish a certain thing, to make my life easier, to I'm resourceful, and not like that switch of identity. I almost feel like is what kind of motivates the habits. Is that what you would
yeah,
say?
yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, one of the resources I'm trying to make now is like helping families like with like impulse shopping and like,
Mm.
the habits. Cause I mean, really, honestly, like when you go, like when I'm going to Costco or whatever, if I have all of my kids with me, I'm
Mhm.
shopping way less because we're in a hurry because the kids are having meltdowns. When I'm by
Yeah.
myself, I peruse and I take my
Yay.
time and I end up spending more. And like, how do you actually combat that? And like the idea of like consumerism and how can we shift our mindset on and like comparison traps and stuff like that. Just because another family is going to
Mhm.
Disney, like it's okay if we're going camping, and how in fact that actually might be in some ways more fun,
Yep.
and
Because I feel like
so like,
guilt around those topics is something that a lot of parents struggle with. Like, oh, I
oh
want to give
yeah.
my kids the world,
Yeah,
but
they want to. Yeah, yeah. And I
yeah.
get comments like that all the time on social media, just like, "Oh, I could never because I want to give my kids everything." Oh, but when we would miss out on our Disney vacations, and it's like, I mean, yeah, yeah, we're not going to be going to Disneyland or World every year, and I think that's okay. Maybe there's actually more adventure and memorable fun if we
Mm.
actually spend a week down camping at the river. So,
One thing that I've noticed, like if there's something dangling above me, like okay, I've got this, I'm guilt driven to do these
mhm,
things, then that reflects to my kids, even if I'm trying
yeah.
to hold that in, they
Mhm,
feel that
mhm.
stress too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But like a carefree, literally free trip to the river camping, there's no stress in that. That's like, oh yeah, you get there, but there's not this financial burden that's like holding
Mhm.
you hostage of
Yeah.
like, I'm going to have to pay for this later. Oh, I'm going to swipe my credit card and put this on like debt or whatever, or completely blow my budget, which I think is a cool gift to give your
Mhm.
kids.
I think so too. I think about that honestly all the time. Like, you know, because I mean, sometimes I like second guess myself. Like, when
Hmm.
I see like family members or whatever going on like a super extravagant vacation, like, oh man, like what are our kids going to think about that? No, but then it's like our children now, like, I mean, yes, they are young. So I mean, we're gonna be having different struggles when they hit like teen years. But like for now, they have found like such joy in simple things that I probably would not have been able to offer them or even think to consider giving them if I had been busier, if I had been like say working outside the home, and thinking how we can keep growing that as they enter into years that are, where they start when maturity hits and like they do start having friends that are off doing bigger things than maybe our family is, and like having how we set the stage now and how we can continue the conversations for when they're older, if
Absolutely.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that you struggle with, like, and you are firmly behind it, but it's like, I feel like everybody deals with some of those questions of just what does the future hold when it comes to
Oh yeah.
managing
I mean,
money with my kids,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm perfect. I honestly, I find it thrilling and fun to find the adventure in living a frugal life. And say we get a beat up motorhome and we're
Mhm.
traveling across the United States. To me, that sounds super fun.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that I can instill in them, like that this is our family's version of fun, and this is what we
Mm.
and it is fun. And so I hope that will continue to be the case.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think that's a gift too. Like, okay, great. If they go off and they make millions of dollars, if all of that is taken away, they know exactly how to have fun in plenty and how to have fun with not as much.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Hmm.
and that for my kids, I feel like that will put them in a place of
Oh yeah, for sure.
contentedness.
Yeah.
And it's wild. We lived overseas for a short stint, like for about 3 years.
Okay.
And we would walk into people's houses like in Costa Rica. And it was not like how it is in America where there's things just stacked everywhere. Like there's no bare wall anywhere, unless you're walking into a super minimalist house. But they were not like that at all. And everything they had was of such quality too. And so it was like very few curated things, but everything was very neat, very tidy, and just had a lot of pride in that. And they didn't spend a lot because they really thought about it before they made the purchase.
Right.
So, but just to see that this is kind of what we're growing up in, what our kids are growing up in, being a parent in, is just really hard, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because the Joneses is everywhere, like.
Yeah. I know. I feel like, when you do live on less, you have to kind of have more intentional choices. I was just having this thought the other day of like how, it's possible for families who make a ton of money to be able to live with purpose and live with intention and live a simple life. Like, it's totally possible. But I do feel like when you're kind of made to live on less, how actually like it can be this gift of living more simply, if you choose to accept it, and how it really can lead to like a more intentional, simple living. Like, if you can open yourself up to that frame of mind.
Yeah. Because living on less doesn't mean that you're less. It just doesn't. And I've seen, especially as like the economy has gotten worse and worse over time. And and we even see that like with cars, right? Like 5-10 years ago, cars were a completely different price than what they are now, and it's like doubled. And so I see a lot of people, even just in my friend group, who are struggling, that are just saying like, oh my goodness, how am I going to survive? Their husbands are picking up extra hours. And so the content that you're producing and the message that you're sharing is your life can be like you're thriving. Like you even said, you're thriving with your family. You can be that way and still manage things well. And I feel like that's so important. Any advice for that mom who's like, okay, I feel like we've cut every single corner that I can cut and I'm just like drowning. What is your encouragement for them?
Yeah, if you're like in the thick of it, and our family has been in the thick of it, just remembering that this is a season. This is a season that's not going to last forever. And can we get through just this next, can we get through this next month? Let's just take it one step at a time. So I think that right there is like pausing and just kind of like reflecting on like, so God's got me this far, do I still feel called to do this? Like, do I feel like I need to pick up extra hours or whatever? That's a whole nother thing, but like, if God's provided for us this far, why will he not continue to provide for us? And like, maybe this is like the opportunity that he can really shine, show like his glory when it's like, feels like such a dark place, and I think like there are times where like when my husband lost his job, I was like, I don't even know like how we paid our bills. Like, I honestly don't even know, but somehow we did.
Yeah.
Somehow we just we were never behind on a payment. We were able to pay all of our bills, and like a friend, or I was actually anonymous. Someone, I told what was happening in some, I don't even know, some church thing, and someone dropped off an anonymous Food Lion gift card. It was just super sweet stuff like that.
Oh yeah. But you would have never experienced that without it, that blessing.
Yeah, when you're in moments like this, you do like receive so many blessings that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Or I think there's so much to be said for being able to go through that experience and come out the other end, and you didn't go under it or you didn't go over it, you went right through it, and how that is a testament in and of itself. And to just keep trudging away and find some stuff in your house to sell.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. And like, praise the Lord, like, right? Like he filled in the gaps, man. So
it does. Yeah, I know. It's wild.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes like in American culture, we're like, we're going to do this all ourselves. And we lose a lot of those opportunities.
I know, that is a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
It's
like
true.
I can make this money. I can make this work. And the Lord's like, no, you can't. Like, you need me. Hello.
Yeah, I know.
But oh my goodness, that's awesome. So my last question for you is, but At the end of every episode, I like to ask, what is one book that has shaped your life and made you into the person you are today? It could be any genre. It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't have to be homeschooling related. It doesn't have to be. It could be a children's book. It doesn't have to fit any sort of box.
Okay. Oh man. I mean, I think one book that was pretty like eye-opening for me. I mean, so Mama Bear Apologetics was like super good. It's recommended to everybody.
Oh my
Just like
goodness.
being able to defend your faith and talk about it and how important it is to talk to your children about it. And that was really good. I am right now in the middle of reading For the Children's Sake.
Oh.
And that is.
Are you diving into Charlotte Mason? Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm like super into that right now. And I'm like, I'm in the mason jar right now. So that might be like pretty transformative for me. I'm going to be reading Home Education this summer.
I do it.
And
I got it right here. Like I got the 2 books right here. And
oh yeah.
So worth it. So worth it. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to be a Charlotte Masoner. Never. And then I had so many people on the podcast who were like, okay, you should read the Charlotte Mason volumes.
Yeah.
For the Children's Sake has been recommended as well. I hadn't read that one, but a friend of mine's reading it.
It's pretty, and when it's like where our life is right now. And like, I really like talking about habits and mindset and stuff like that.
That's really big.
I never even heard of Charlotte Mason before like a year ago. And then I've heard of her and I was like, why have I never even heard of her before? Like I feel like this is exactly the style that I would want to teach my children in. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cool.
Maybe a couple eclectic pieces in there thrown in, but
yeah, because I'm not much of a rule follower in general, but her holistic view of children has really pulled me in, and especially the religious aspect of it. It was just like, this is focused. It kind of models like the way Jesus disciples is what it seems like to me. And then carrying that over with your kids, but the habits thing too. She's super big on habits, which is super interesting. Like I love the psychology behind that,
That's actually what we're focusing on this summer. Whereas the summer before we start first grade, we're like, we're just going to do a deep dive in habits. I mean, because we need to work on like habit training. So like, we're going to do a deep dive there. And yeah.
Do you have boys, girls? Like what's your...
So the one that's going to be in first grade is a boy. And it's boy, girl, boy. Yeah.
Okay.
Our youngest is only 6 months old, so he's just a baby. But
I gotcha. Yeah. How was it going from 3 to 4?
It was the same as going from 2 to 3. I mean,
really. Okay.
Yeah, I think the trickiest part has been like the bedroom situation, like because we just had to move our 2-year-old into the bedroom with the other 2 kids, and I mean, so that's been a disaster. But
right.
But I mean, once you get another kid, it's really just all the same. You've already got the clothes, and
that's true. Well, okay, so you're saying you went from 3 to 4. Okay, 3 to 4. You went from 3 to 4. But what was the hardest switch from like 1 to 2, 0 to 1, 2 to 3?
Man, 0 to 1 though, I would say, that was pretty hard.
Okay,
just
that was
like,
that.
You're so used to like your way, and
for sure.
And like you're over analyzing everything. Everything feels hard, and yeah.
And you're like, I'm breaking this child. Like, what am I doing? Like, oh my goodness.
Why do they let me take it home from the hospital?
So So Jillian, any last words to say for any homeschool parents that's out there that are wanting to live frugally? Any encouragement just for this particular priority in their lives?
Well, man, I just want to say kudos for you for even wanting to live more frugally, because it is possible. It is challenging, like for sure. It's not like it's like super easy, but I mean, it's kind of a fun challenge when you start to think of it in that way. And I mean, specifically with homeschooling, there's so many ways to homeschool frugally. And I just really encourage you to, if budget is of concern when you think about homeschooling, just think about getting a used curriculum, doing a free curriculum, making up your own curriculum. I mean, if you want to do it, you don't have to spend $400 on something. Like it's great for those who need it and want it, but that's definitely not what you have to have.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible. And yeah.
And one thing that I found as a really helpful free resource to like curriculum planning in general is ChatGPT.
I just have done that this week. Yes. That's hilarious. Yes. Well, when I was talking about making your own curriculum, like ChatGPT, literally, like that's so funny. What did ChatGPT do for you?
So me and my husband are playing around because he actually like that's what he does is he creates different things within AI for his work. But so he created the Charlotte Mason bot and he got it to read all of the Charlotte Mason works and then gave it access to the internet and was basically like, okay, make me a curriculum for teaching compass and like directionals and that sort of thing. And dude, what it popped out was like,
That is so hilarious.
oh yeah. I
Yes.
mean, like do a sundial. This day do this. And like and not only did it do it like tell you what to do, it broke it down by days across a certain week span that made it
Yeah.
so bite-sized and
That's
easy,
awesome.
you know? What did you use it for?
It's so funny that you brought this up because it's literally been this week. I have been obsessively using ChatGPT. Like so because I'm thinking about curriculum for next year, what I want to do, and like Ambleside was the website was a little bit confusing for me, and so I asked ChatGPT like, hey, can you make me a Charlotte Mason book list for first grade? I think I want to do early American history, and it like it totally like got all these books from like all these different resources, and it said why Charlotte Mason would choose them, and it like made a whole book list, and then I was like, okay, great. Can you add some handicraft ideas and add some like a folk song that would kind of like blend, in this time period. So like did it all, and now I built like an entire like curriculum starting with like the Vikings all the way up and then I'm like, okay, can you add in a little more Little House on the Prairie? Oh, sure. Charlotte Mason. I'm very excited. And I mean, so it's like totally did it all. And so this might be crazy to just do this. So I'm still
I don't think
thinking about
so.
that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then thinking about habit training, thinking about like, different talking respectfully and all these different things that I want to prioritize with our children. I actually had it like make like a habit training, like a Charlotte Mason habit training, actionable steps, I guess you could say, for
Did it really? I hadn't even thought about
like,
that.
yeah, for like respectful talking to elders with respect and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh dude, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I like just did that yesterday. So that's hilarious that you brought that up.
That's funny. So
yes,
okay,
ChatGPT, man.
there you
That's
go.
a great resource right there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. And well, I mean, and
Yeah.
Trump has recently like passed a bill apparently that all high school students have to be AI literate by the time they leave high school.
Wow.
So I mean,
Okay.
homeschool moms have a great opportunity to be ahead of the curve by using
Yeah.
ChatGPT in their
Yeah.
curriculum. I mean, that is
Yeah.
super super cool. Oh my goodness.
That's fun.
Oh my goodness. You're gonna have to send me
Yeah.
your question prompts for
I will.
the
Yeah.
actual
Well,
thing.
and I went ahead and made a whole PDF of like
Did it really?
yeah, of like week 1. I have week 1 through 6 ready to go. And
That is awesome.
I'm still gonna be tweaking it to like, I'm not doing this till the fall. And so I'm just kind of
Right.
like adding in maybe a different biography or, whatever.
Is that where you got the idea for those books that you had posted about on your stories of
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The Dallaire books. And then realizing like, wow, like actually almost every Charlotte Mason program curriculum uses those books.
Oh,
And
okay.
ChatGPT knew, and it threw it in there. And so
Yeah,
great
okay.
resource.
I'm gonna have to make my questions way more specific, I think, because what you popped out was very like varying. You know what I mean?
Well, and I also kept tweaking it down. Like I kept going to even more down. So it's like, oh, hey, give me, so if like for George Washington, like give me, some character traits that match that theme or whatever that we can be focusing on for, those 2 weeks or whatever. And it's like, oh, no, sure. Let me, and, and I mean, I tend to like want to have my like an activity kind of, I guess in my head, I still kind of want to do unit studies slightly. Like if it is
sit together.
I don't know. I like that still, if it's Betsy Ross, I want to tie in like a little bit of the flag. Maybe we can quilt together some,
Oh, that's a cool idea.
something. Yeah, I like
like
kind of
that.
figuring stuff out like that. But
Oh, that's
yeah.
super neat. That's super neat. Do you think you'll ever create like resources for homeschool moms to create free curriculums?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That would be so fun.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, once you do that, you're going to have to let me
I'm
know.
nerding out on this, like completely nerding out. Like I think it's so much fun. So yes, I can
Oh, that's
definitely see
awesome.
that. I don't really, I tried making some like printables. I don't know if that's my thing, but I do like helping, I like helping moms come up with like this like stuff to do with their kids. I think that's fun.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's awesome. Because I feel like that
yeah.
can be a barrier. A lot of these things are really expensive as far as like if you choose
Yeah.
certain things. I'm really
I
thankful for
know.
like Ambleside Online for them to give you a
Yeah, for sure.
guidepost.
Yeah.
But that's super cool. Oh my goodness. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
I know a friend of mine is like really into Ambleside. And so I keep
Mm.
like going, I'm like, is this crazy? Like what I just made is like, is this like scandalous to be thinking about just doing this and like going back off Ambleside and looking at like their schedule and, comparing. And so she's like, kind of helping me tweak stuff a little bit and stuff like that. But
Was she on board with the ChatGPT thing? Like, did she think it was enough?
yeah, she thought it was great. She thought some of it was a little bit, well, she kind of thought it was maybe too unit study-ish.
Okay.
That was me. I tend to like kind of want it that way, just like a smidge. And she thought maybe some of like maybe the handicrafts should be like lengthened out, like little tweaky things like that. But
I gotcha.
so stuff that I can keep working on through the summer, and yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Super cool. All right. Well, I won't steal all of your time tonight because I could keep going with questions, but
this is fun. Yeah. It's all right.
This has been a blast. Yeah, for sure. So anybody listening, if you want to find Jillian, her website is sproutingarrows.com. Isn't that right? Sproutingarrows.com?
Yep.
And you can find her on Instagram under that same handle, Sprouting Arrows. Her resources are pretty amazing just because it does give you new ideas for how to be frugal. It's not just the same old type of thing. To me, it's really evoked some new ideas for me personally. So I would encourage you, if you're looking to live a more frugal life, if you're looking to cut down your budget and to set some priorities up that will put your family towards financial success, I would definitely encourage you to check out Jillian and the work that she does and the encouragement that she has. So Jillian, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks. This was fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have any other places that you're on besides Instagram and your blog?
I mean, there's like Facebook. I'm working on growing my YouTube channel. I have like more like curriculum reviews over on YouTube. And I'm on TikTok. They're not as big as like Instagram or anything, but yeah, it's
super cool.
We're
awesome. Well, thank you so much for like having this conversation with me. It's been so much fun.
This is great. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Home Edify podcast. All literature, book recommendations, and websites mentioned in today's show will be linked in the details below. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. And don't forget to follow along on Instagram at Home Edify Podcast to enjoy clips from our latest episodes and day-to-day encouragement. Our prayer is that you were inspired to seek after your child's heart and mind. Thanks again for listening.
So, Mom, are you done with your podcast?
Yeah, I learned so much.
Thanks for coming to the podcast. Bye.